You can run, your ladyship, but you can't run far enough. Let their blood rain from the sky. Oh, Jeremy Irons, he was devouring the scenery, chewing through fucking walls upon walls of scenery that has not been seen since Raul Julia in Street Fighter. I'm John Renton with the retro view of Dungeons & Dragons from 2000, and I thought this movie was monumentally stupid when it came out when I was 19 years old. Yes, that's how fucking old I am. Goddamn, I am almost older than dirt. Maybe the surface level of dirt, soon to be the thick crust of Earth. But anyway, enough about Earth and dirt and all that stuff. Let's talk about Dungeons & Dragons. If you're unfamiliar with Dungeons & Dragons, it means you're not a nerd. No, I kid. There are plenty of cool people I know that play Dungeons & Dragons. My best friend plays it. And, a couple of my best friends actually play it, and it's a tabletop RPG game where you get to be in control. You get to be in control of your fantasy. You can go head-to-head with people in your fantasy. You can have head-on-head fantasy. I'm going to keep saying it like this until I make it as uncomfortable as possible. But yes, tabletop RPG where you can be a dwarf, an elf, and a mage, and a whole bunch of stuff that I don't really know anything about outside of the various role-playing games that I played in video game form, because I don't have the time, patience, or really, any kind of desire to play that, but plenty of people do. It's been mega popular, and there's been animated movies about it, and hey, they were going to do a big budget live action movie in 2000. Great. This is a great idea. It wasn't. It was fucking bullshit. Jeremy Irons was asked why he did this movie, and he said, I bought a castle and needed to pay for it. It's like Michael Caine, and you can't help but say Michael Caine's name like My Cocaine. Try it. You can't fucking unhear it, and you can't fucking say it any differently. When he did Jaws of Revenge, I had stuff I needed to pay for. Either a house, a castle, or possibly a space station on the third ring of Saturn. I had no goddamn idea. Michael Caine seems like the kind of adventurous guy that would want to go into space to forget about Jaws of Revenge. I'm actually shocked that they haven't done a Jaws movie in space. They did Sharknado in space, or at least a brief part of that, so, well, I guess that's the closest we're going to get. Let's talk about Dungeons & Dragons. It's fucking bullshit. The special effects in this movie are so motherfucking terrible, they barely passed for 1985. Look at special effects in a movie like Legend, which came out in 85, 86 or something like that. Granted, Ridley Scott had something to do with that, but that was a big budget movie that had great special effects. Sure, it had stuff that hasn't aged all that well since the movie came out, almost 40 fucking years ago. But it had life and energy and exuberance, and there was fantasy movies like Willow and Princess Bride and so many others that I own. And then there was an MST3K movie that they did that it was one of the episodes in one of the later seasons. I don't remember if it was, I think it was season 9. So it was late 97, early 98. It was when they were on Sci-Fi, and the story arc thing was bullshit. But anyway, Quest of the Delta Knights. If anybody remembers that, basically, and you've never seen this, but you've seen Quest of the Delta Knights. Picture Quest of the Delta Knights with a bigger budget and around the same level of writing. I'm not fucking kidding, by the way. This movie is monumentally bad, spectacularly awful, and it comes to us from first-time director Courtney Solomon, who went on to direct 2 other movies, An American Haunting and Getaway. And if you're unfamiliar with, those particular movies, this came out in 2000, American Haunting came out in 2005, and Getaway came out in 2013. And he's done writing and other stuff, for other movies, and that's fine. First-time directors, it's not the fucking kiss of death. And apparently the production for this was just so fucking snake-bit. The budgetary constraints, this movie cost $45 million, and at least $4 million of that had to go to Jeremy Irons, because they had to just bring a Brinks truck, full of cash to him to say, please do this. We know you were in Die Hard with a Vengeance, you were in a whole bunch of other stuff, and you were Scar and Lion King, but please do this. Well, I do have a castle I need to pay for. Also, Thora Birch was in this. If the name Thora Birch sort of rings a bell, but you can't quite place it, American Beauty. She was Kevin Spacey's daughter in American Beauty. Boy, Kevin Spacey sure liked to torpedo his goddamn career by being a goddamn creep. It turns out him being a creep in American Beauty was actually true to life. So yeah, Dungeons & Dragons. You got mages and magic and everything, and you have dragons also, because otherwise a movie called Dungeons & Dragons without dragons would be kind of fucking stupid. It's also written by 2 different people. Topper Lillian, not Topper, the famous, I believe, ghost investigation type thing. I think Topper Returns. That was something that was out in the 30s and 40s. I don't recall exactly. And Carol Cartwright, which sounds like a name way too snooty to do this stuff. So yeah, Jeremy Irons is in it. Bruce Payne, and oh boy, was it a pain to watch him. He was the blue lipstick guy. He was blue lipstick, Dabadi. He was a guy. He was a weird kind of blue-lipped henchman guy. And he was blue. Okay, enough of that. So yeah, Justin Whalen was the main character, the main hero named Ridley. And boy, when you have a guy named Ridley that is not Sigourney Weaver, when you have somebody, well, let's put it this way. Let me backtrack there. When you have a hero named Ridley and it's not Sigourney Weaver, oh boy, you're in a lot of fucking trouble. Marlon Wayans was also in this as a character named Snails. I am not kidding. That was his actual fucking name. And Marlon Wayans can be a funny guy. All the Wayans can be pretty funny. Marlon Wayans was the most infuriating at this point, to the point where you wanted something to happen just to write his character up. You didn't want anything bad to happen to the person. You're just like, this, oh God, he was so fucking infuriating. It was like Scary Movie turned up to the worst degree. And that's really, I mean, it's not really saying much because Scary Movie is just a fucking parody. But yeah, Thora Birch was in this. And also we had various other, we had a, young mage named Zoe, or his name Marina, that was played by Zoe McClain. And then you also had, you had various other characters. You had a, pretty girl, who was an elf, who the actress's name escapes me right now. She played Norda. And boy, everything was pointing Norda when we saw her. Ha ha ha. No, this movie. Oh, God. Okay, so it's taking place. I had to write this shit down. Taking place in the Empire of Isma. Isma. And, yeah, there's magic users and humans. And there's a divide because magic users are seen as really good and humans are not. And the Empress, I had to write this down, Savina, not Tom Savina. That's Tom Savini. Close enough. Thora Birch. She must have been held at gunpoint doing her scenes because she was so stifled here. And she's a pretty terrific actress. She was great in American Beauty. So hard for me to watch that movie now. So hard for me to watch that. Wes Bentley was great. But in this movie, you have this empire that seemingly is like the Springfield of medieval empires, where you just have to walk 30 feet and you're in another town. We don't see this journey stuff, which is fine. We don't need the Lord of the Rings, this son of a bitch. But yeah, you have magic users and non-magic users and everything. And the $45 million budget, none of it went to the special effects. These dragon effects were monumentally bad. Like, they were almost Super Nintendo-like. They weren't even PlayStation 1-like. This was like full motion video stuff you would see maybe in the 3DO era. Maybe. I'd say more Sega CD, Sega Master System. Well, the Sega CD or Sega Mega Drive, I think is actually... No, the Mega Drive is what it was called in the UK. Whatever. The whole point is, this is stuff that's pretty fucking dated. Or like Legend, or... Willow had fucking great special effects. And you could tell it was an obvious blue screen when they were fighting that giant creature. I gotta watch that at some point. This just had... You had Profion, who's Jeremy Irons' character. He's an evil mage who's so goddamn motherfucking evil. He's trying to recreate the staff to control dragons. But that goes tits up. And he asks his friend, Damodar, Bruce Payne, the blue-lipped guy. I need help. I need a hero. I need a hero at the end of the night. He's got to be strong. He's got to be something, and he's got to be stronger than... No, that's not how that works. But he needs a hero, and that's where Ridley comes in. Ridley with Snails. I think I would have rather watched Snails actually compete in a death match than watch this movie. And I mean actual fucking snails. I would have rather faced the goddamn, snail creatures that were in Final Fantasy 3 that were kind of fucking... Or Final Fantasy 6 if you want to get it right. So... Profion apparently has this, hold on everybody. And he tells this council in this area where it's obviously blue screen and like some people are sitting in places and are just superimposed. This blue screen technology doesn't even look like it would pass for 1980. It was that bad. Apparently rumors were they want Francis Ford Coppola to direct this. Francis Ford Coppola. It would have basically taken the worst movie that he did and put it further down because this would have been the worst movie that he ever, had directed. Not that Courtney Solomon or really anybody could have fucking saved this, and I'm not even knocking him. But this killed his career before he even got started. And then we get Ridley and Snails who are thieves, and you get Marlon Wayans at his with his worst instincts, doing all this bullshit and all this screaming and all this crap, and they're trying to rob people, and they end up coming into this magic school where the river runs with fire because Jeremy Irons says, "Oh, I couldn't control this dragon, so let's have the gate kill it," and the blood that looked like blood from the frickin', first Alone in the Dark game, or maybe the Seventh Guest. Look at all my video game, old school video game knowledge there. It turns the river into fire, and that seemingly distracts people enough that they can get into this magic school, and basically things end up going tits up. This Damodar guy, who's the right-hand man to Profion, decides, oh, I'm going to do all this. I'm going to kill this old mage guy. And now Marina, how do you solve a problem like Marina? You decide to go to the marina, if you'll see what I did there, and they decide to... They transport themselves away in this weird portal thing that wouldn't even pass for like the worst Stargate episode. And it turns out that like they have to look for this secret treasure thing to help, maybe bring balance to the Force. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. That's a different movie. Bring balance to the whole goddamn thing because there are dragons and Profions doing this shit. They have to get to this rod before he gets to it first. A rod that caused a great war. Oh, boy. A great war. That's how those things always work. Let's start a great war. It's like Magic the Gathering, if Magic the Gathering was done, with just sea cucumbers overlording it. Actually, I take that back. Remember the Warcraft movie? This was worse. At least with the Warcraft movie, they tried something. It wasn't great, but they tried. Oh, Marlon Wayans kept screaming. He falls for this elf named Norda, and then you have this, weird dwarf guy, because of course you do, except the dwarf's of natural size. It makes no goddamn sense. Ridley goes to this weird thiefdom thing with this Xylus guy who's, just as Fey as possible. So goddamn Fey that even Tina Fey is like, fine, have my last name, just quit associating. No, I'm kidding. This guy's just absolutely just up to the nth degree of Feyness, and he's just, and by the way, he was playing, and I had to write this down, he was played by Richard O'Brien, who at least was having some fun here. There were some people that were trying to make the best of this, but then Ridley has to go through this maze thing. This maze that Xylus set up. And it's this, it's this thing where things are swinging around if you step on the wrong deal, or fire sprays up in the walls, or this thing's going to come down on you and squish you unless you can figure out this trap. And the whole idea is Ridley has to get to this treasure, basically, to prove his worth. Here's a question I have. Why did he design something like this and put that thing there? Did he put it in there? How many people died putting that thing together? What happened if something broke? Did he have to do maintenance on it? Was it something broke in the third room and he had to try to, disable that? Was there a failsafe switch? Was there something? Why am I thinking about this stuff? Probably because it was so monumentally stupid. So, all this time, by the way, Norda is actually secretly working for the Empress. Marlon Wayans' character, but by the way, named Snails, falls for her. A snail falling for an elf. Tale as old as time. Oh, I don't even have a, good segue away from that. So it turns out this Norda girl's working, this elf's working for the Empress. And actually uses a mirror to communicate with her. The new iPhone mirror text. Man, it's such great tech. Such, much phone service in the medieval times. Such wow. So, she does end up eventually telling that Snails guy, hey, by the way, you're a little young for me. Well, I could get a little bit older. She's like, I'm 234. Well, I'm 23. Well, damn, I didn't mean that old. Anyway, Jeremy Irons' character disappears from this whole goddamn thing by this point. I think he was in the first 20 to 25 minutes. He doesn't show up for another 40, apparently. He was like, okay, I'll shoot my scenes and just space them out and everything, so it seems like I actually gave a shit. Okay, we'll do that. And then the studio just said, we don't like these special effects, make them worse. They had to have said that. Nobody could look at this thing and think, this is better. Take a look at the Power Rangers movie from 1995. Those special effects were about the same as this. And that came out 5 years sooner, which, yes, 1995, it would be, that's how the calendar works. Everybody was in, nobody knows how to talk like an actual human in this. And we get another council meeting, hooray! It's like the whole goddamn, Congress thing that they had in the Star Wars prequels. And Zora Birch again. See, she was in American Beauty. She was going to be in Ghost World. She'd been in other stuff. And I swear, somebody was either holding her favorite pet, her favorite family member, or holding something off screen. Read your lines, damn it. Had to have been doing that. Maybe they gave her a cyanide pill and they were like, dude, we'll give you the antidote, but you gotta say these lines. You just don't have to say them convincingly. So, anyway, eventually this Damodar guy finds them and kills snails. Oh, yay, Marlon Wayans is dead in the movie. And at least that character was done. He stabs Ridley, but then, can't give it once. Marina's like, no, we do this. This is, by the way, after Marina had been captured and got rescued. And Jeremy Irons just went absolutely insane by this point because he came back into the movie. And, well, Ridley was healed in this weird area. Again, walk 30 feet and you end up somewhere else. This weird tree with glowing things. And he's healed by honeycomb essence. Me one honeycomb, or maybe it was the honeypot that Winnie the Pooh kept trying to stick his finger in. When you stick your finger in the honeypot, sometimes you get stung. Don't ask me what that means. Google it, kids. And we get more. Yes, if you save the dragon, you save your rod, you save the world. That's not, wait, that was save the cheerleader, save the world. Hayden Panettiere, I would and you would too. So, in this scene, after he got healed, Ridley and Marina are at each other's throats because she's a mage, he's a human. Could we make it any more obvious? And they're at each other's throats, they're arguing and everything. And then they kiss like 30 seconds later. Maybe not even that. Okay, young love, everybody. Let's just throw all this shit out here. So, let's just keep talking about this movie here and talk about the fact that eventually we get to this other part where Ridley has to go finally get this, staff, this red staff thing that can control dragons. And he gets it from the skeleton that seemingly talks to him. It's a skeleton that was cursed. And, if you take this, it's going to give you a terrible curse unless you break it. How do I break the curse? That's for you to find out. I'm a fucking skeleton. What do you want from me? This might as well be what he said. And then the dragons suddenly attack. I'm not even kidding. We just suddenly go from, he gets the staff, and then dragons are attacking. Green dragons, red dragons, and no yellow dragons. So it's not red means stop, yellow means get the fuck through there, and green means go. So that's why one of my exes actually used to wear green lipstick, because green meant go. Moving on from that, because she's probably watching, we just get this bad... Remember the PS3 game Layer? The one with the bad motion controls? And had really, really terrific graphics? Okay, picture that, but for maybe the PS.5. Like the prototype of the PlayStation. A lot of video game references here, but there's a lot of bullshit going on with this. And the dragons are fight. This is like Mortal Kombat Annihilation levels of shit, which I will be reviewing at some point because I hate myself, and you guys find this entertaining. And the dragons are just attacking each other. The blue lipstick guy is back. By the way, during the earlier part when he could not capture the people, he got this weird thing put in his head that had these tentacles that came out and attached themselves to people's ears and got information out of them. He did this to exactly one person, that Marina girl. That's it. He sucked it off the Marina girl. Saw that going differently in my head. Let's move on from that. This movie actually made the movie Red Dragon seem coherent by comparison. And Jeremy Irons is going full on Raul Julia as M. Bison in Street Fighter. My destiny. He's got the staff and everything. Special effects are ripe with bullshit. These are bad. These are catastrophically bad. The dragons keep fighting, I think. Not exactly sure what the hell is going on. Ridley was gifted with a lightning sword earlier, by the way, that does this lightsaber, motion, or the lightsaber stuff, but not the noise, because it's trademark. He's doing this sword thing. Can you tell that I hated this movie? Can you tell? Can you fucking tell I hated this? And of course he's like, you can run your ladyship, but you'll never run far enough. Let their blood rain from the sky. And then he's battling Ridley. He says, I'll create a new destiny full of pain. Not so talented, eh, Mr. Ridley? Talented Mr. Ripley. Should watch that. I've enjoyed our little chat, but it's your time to die. Oh. And then, And then they get the staff away from him. Because everybody suddenly comes together right now over me. And then he destroys the red staff thing, so now nobody can control red dragons anymore. So seemingly, either copies of red dragon are going to rain from the sky, which would have made this movie infinitely more interesting, if not implausible, but no more implausible than watching these special effects. Or the red dragons are just like, fine, we can think for ourselves. Roar? Yeah, we're going to go there. Rain of Fire, this was not, and I hated Rain of Fire. So, then he's talking. Then Profian is talking to Thorberge, talking to the Empress. The battle may be over, but not the war. And then he summons this weird gargoyle bony creature to attack her because he can just do that somehow. And then suddenly this green dragon gets summoned and eats Profian. Just eats him. Gulp. And then he ignored the cardinal rule. Always wait an hour after eating your Profion before flying. It's like the swimming thing. Peace is restored, I think. I don't care. And then everybody's equal suddenly, because that's what the Empress is fighting for. Everybody, what are we fighting for? And he's at Snails' grave, Ridley is. And then he puts that little red stone thing that he got from the maze thing that the guy had for no goddamn reason right in his fucking basement or in the next room. And he's going to be knighted. And then the snail's, engraved name goes onto the stone. So, oh great, he's suddenly alive and we're going to see him there. Maybe we'll see him in the sequel. No, I will not see a sequel. They're going to make another one of these, by the way, with Chris Pine. No, seriously. They're going to make another one of these with Chris Pine next year. They're supposed to come out next year. And nothing against Chris Pine. Why are they doing another Dungeons and Dragons? It can't be any worse than this. It can't. It simply can't. I won't allow it. Ah! Anyway, agree, disagree what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin, losing his mind. I will lose my mind with more video game movies. I'll see you soon.